folks. Good afternoon. I wanted to make a video, try to keep it as short as possible, but a video talking about the X meets X trend in self publishing, marketing, and advertising strategies. It comes up quite a bit, and over the last few years of working with clients and helping them get started with their selling portion of the journey, I've personally found no evidence that slapping a uh, X Files meets Sword of Truth right in the front of your blurb, which is the funny little name for what you write on your sales page or on the back page of the back cover of your novel, actually helps sell books. You see a lot of people online talk about doing it. There are posts, threads, TikTok videos, YouTube shorts where the individual says to the audience or says to the other authors in post, my book is this meets this. It's like this and this. It's like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Starship Troopers. Things that may not go together if you initially would think of it, but it's where the author got the inspiration for their story. Now, this trend came from traditional publishing, and it's what's known as comp titles or comparable titles. This is a marketing strategy that traditional publishing houses have used for many, many years now to hone in on the target audience for a specific property that they want to sell. And lately, I can't say how many years, probably about 5, it's become a part of the querying system for traditional publishing. When you are looking for an editor or you are looking for an agent, or you are at that point where you're pitching directly to the marketing team of the publisher that has offered you a contract, they expect comparable titles because they want a quick and dirty way to tap the audience immediately. It helps speed up their process of making profit. Does that translate to independent and self-publishing sales? Not when you put it right in the front of your blurb. You should be keeping it in mind. Absolutely. Part of the process of selling anything yourself is to tap the target audience. And the best ways to tap the target audience is A, know who you want to sell to, and B, know how you want to sell it to them. And comparable titles do that. If I can find Starship Troopers fans and I can find Bill and Ted fans, and then I can specifically create advertisements for the Bill and Ted fans, and I can create advertisements for the Starship Trooper fans, and then they come together themselves. Not you. They do it over the intellectual property, the book, the series, whatever you want to create. The issue with putting it in yourself is that you're setting a precedent. And as I explained on this past IAK on A Drink with Crazy Live, check it out if you haven't seen it. When you are relatively unknown, when you do not have a large fan base, or you do not even have widespread appeal as an author, we're not talking about the Brandon Sanderson types here. We're talking about the guys that maybe have a couple hundred dedicated fans of the things that they make, and the guys who only have 1 or 2. Comparing your project openly, publicly, to something that's already beloved creates a conflict. Maybe it's been years since they've seen Starship Troopers and they're perusing for something. They look at your blurb because they like your cover and they see, ooh, Starship Troopers. I loved Starship Troopers. Bill and Ted was awesome. Such a fun movie. What do you think they're going to do? Are they going to buy your no-name potential book? Maybe. I mean, I'll give you the positivity of a maybe, but it's not a guarantee. More likely, they're going to go check Netflix for Starship Troopers and Bill and Ted. That's how the human mind works. If they haven't found anything else to do, if those things aren't readily available, yeah, maybe. And if they like reading books, yeah, maybe. But if you compare it to an hour and a half television show that is free on a streaming service, or movies, it's free on a streaming service. Sorry, not a television show. Hour and a half television show. That'd be weird. What's the incentive? It's not a hook. That's why it's called a comparable. You're supposed to generate your own hook based on the understanding of the audience that likes X and X. Not just to throw it out there and be like, yeah, my thing is like this thing. Well, who cares? And with the short attention span of people browsing the internet and specifically browsing Amazon, you've got about 5-6 seconds to really capture attention. So you've already blown 2 seconds of reading. You got 4 seconds left on your first maybe sentence to hook. That better be a banger sentence. The other problem that I have with it is that independent authors, self-publishing authors that are new to the game are often very rough in their delivery. We're just starting out. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to try things that others who have done it for a long time know not to do because they've already gotten the feedback. So if you say your thing is like beloved thing X and your book doesn't live up to that candle, you've now shot yourself so low in their understanding. If they're coming at it with just fresh eyes and they're just hooked by your blurb, they're hooked by your marketing strategy, then they're going to look at it. And even if it's got flaws, you're like, yeah, you know, it actually was really good. And I very much enjoyed it, even though it had these problems. So I'm going to give it a 3. But if you compare it to Harry Potter, for example, and it doesn't deliver, you've lost a return client, a return sales, a return customer. People are more likely to be highly judgmental when you try to compare to something that is beloved. That's why comparable titles are kept private. They're used for marketing, but not openly spoken of. And it's not the same as, say, Brandon Sanderson's opening book blurb for his most recent release, talking about how he's the author of Skyward or whatnot. That's things that he's already done that people love. It's not the same. I don't want you, any of you in the independent creating sphere, to shoot yourself in the foot by making claims like that and taking advice from the internet that's flawed. let's see. Real quick, I'm going to share screen here. There we go. All right. So, best science fiction and fantasy of 2023 so far, according to Amazon, the oft contentiously discussed Fourth Wing is one of them. Now we take a look at this. It lists, it lists all of its quote unquote achievements. It lists tag words in posted reviews, and those are reviews by other people. And here's the other distinction. This is a most important part. Reviewers make comparisons. You as the creator do not get to make comparisons. It's not smart strategy. If a reviewer, if someone you sent an ARC to goes, this thing, it read like an anime. I got that a lot with G Sedai. It read like an anime and kind of like John Wick. That's good. I can use that as a marketing strategy. I can think of it in comparability and focus on tapping the anime audience and the John Wick audience. But I wouldn't put in the front of my sales pitch, it's like an anime John Wick. Because then I'm setting a precedent that I may not fulfill. It's good to have confidence in what you produce, but why would you set yourself up for failure by comparing and contrasting with something that is already highly successful? Other people can do that. And when reviewers say so, when they say this was like, a combination of Sleepless in Seattle and what was the last movie I watched? Blade 2, we'll put it that way. It's something that nobody would expect. It draws the attention, and a reader who sees that review goes, well, that's interesting. How is it like those two things? I should check it out. But you as the author don't get to say that. That's for reviewers to do. So we'll go to the read more here. Look down. Big blurb. Very pointed language. No X meets X involved. None of that. So we go back. Let's look at Hellbent. New York Times bestseller. Tour de Force. NPR. I mean, I don't particularly care what these people think, so I probably wouldn't buy it because they're, a bunch of crazy a-holes that say all sorts of ridiculous stuff. So it's hard to take their word seriously. But the read more, we get into the actual blurb. You take a look at it. You can read it right on the screen here with me. No X meets X. I'll do one more. We'll skip Sanderson because everybody knows him. Not We'll do Witch King here. Winner of the Locus Award, breakout SFF superstar author of Murderbot, story of great. That gives me tags, things that I'm interested in right off the bat. Blurb. Identifier. No X meets X. Now you can do this yourself with just 5 to 10 minutes of personal research on Amazon. Look around. Go to your bookstore, randomly pick books off of the shelf and look at their, inner page, look at their back covers, look for X meets X. It's not a thing. And this video specifically is to highlight that so you don't make the mistake. I don't want you, independent creator that is watching this video, I don't want you to have your sales hurt and to have your literary skills as they are in this present moment harmed by comparing it with something to something from someone that's been doing this for 30 years. It's fun in TV shows for the novice to take on the master, but don't do that when you're trying to sell something. On the other hand, you can make inspired quotes. I think the more I thought about it since we discussed it on IAK, I think that's not a bad thing. At the end, do not put it in the front. You want your first sentences, the first words that everyone sees to be something that's going to catch people's eyes. That's why they put #1 bestseller, New York Times bestseller, or whatever, or the most notable celebrity that their review blur, their review quote is the first thing that you see because it's a hook. So the first thing that you want anyone that may be buying your book to see when they look at your sales page is a hook. And X meets X is not it. On the other hand, like I said, at the end, those who are intrigued and want to read through it, maybe you could say something like inspired by the film Dragonheart, inspired by 90s anime, inspired by Golden Age superheroes, inspired by Garfield comic strips. You can say inspired by anything if it's lines up, if the story presents in a similar fashion, but is your own private creation, that's fine. But I would definitely put it in the back, not right there in the front. Don't waste your real estate. Succeed. Unfortunately, as we all should know by now, the internet is wrong constantly. And the internet is wrong constantly because most of the people on the internet don't know shit. The few people that have successfully done these things, the people that work with the folks that have done these things, the people that actually populate businesses and departments that market and advertise, those are the ones who know. The rest of the damn world doesn't have a clue. That's why we're all so surprised when we hear how it actually works and we go, well, shit, it's a lot more simple than I thought it was. Yeah, because you make it complicated because it's unknown to you. But that's a subject for a whole nother video. Before I get too rambly, I'm going to wrap this thing up and simply say your first lines in your sales page for whatever it is that you create, if it's quilts, knit socks, books, comic books, video games, whatever, your first lines must be a hook. They have to be the best damn words you can put in front of a person's eyes to get them to consider buying your product, not showing them someone else's products. Bad marketing. Now, if you disagree, feel free to leave a comment. If you can show me some statistics that prove me wrong, I will be happy to say I am wrong. But from what I've seen and what I know and what I've heard from industry individuals that I have spoken to, X meets X is bullshit. Go be great. I'm out of here.